welcome to Entertainment Weekly's Comic-Con Suite. I'm Sam Heifel, and I'm joined now by the team behind Krapopolis. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to a mythical ancient Greece.
True.
Dan, I want to start with you of just like, where did this idea come from?
I wanted to rip off the Flintstones, but I've always been fascinated with ancient Greek mythology and stuff, which is a kind of a silly thing to say because I think everyone is. I mean, we kind of get taught it in public schools, like around 7th grade, and it's like before comic book culture, like ancient Greek mythology is the interesting random web of all this soap opera mythology, and so for me to say I've always liked it, I mean the reason I've always liked it is because I think everybody always liked it. I think for thousands of years.
Yeah, that's probably right.
It's actually kind of famous for being appealing.
It's sustained a bit. Yeah.
So an argument could be made. This is the lowest risk, most kind of creatively spineless direction to go.
We're waiting for Homer to file the lawsuit on us for
Homer the poet.
Homer the Simpson.
Well, so how does you all's ancient Greece differ from what the stories people have heard? What are we getting into?
We definitely, there's poetic license there. Like, the first thing off the top of my head is like, I didn't want to tell a story in a world that didn't have bars. So there's just a bar. There's just a bar in this town. I'm sure the bar wasn't invented until like Queensberry or something. Like I'm sure there's no taverns in ancient Greece, but there's a tavern in this town. Stuff like that. But weirdly, I get hung up on like no, there's no written language, so no one would say we're on the same page. And
it's not easy to write. It's harder.
It's arguably a dumb way to do a show. It's so dumb. Like we can't even pan across in the beginning of an episode do like 3 jokes that are based on like signage. You know, you can't do like Forever 11. Like it's ancient Greece. Hardy har har. There's you can't do anything. You can't do anything. This show is.
You're really selling it.
I would say it's a train headed for. But there's no trains. There's no trains.
It is. We found a way. Dan made it very difficult, but we made it very funny, and we have great people here who are adding a crazy.
Yeah, these guys are fine. These guys get to do. They did great. As far as I'm concerned, I'm like, God, oh man. I was like, see what you can do. They did great.
Yeah.
No thanks.
Pam and Duncan are honestly the best to work with.
It's hilarious. I mean, we get to say very funny things in a very funny world. It's an absolute joy to do, and it's smart. I think. Sorry. It's smart. You're kind of smart or whatever.
No, I'm very dumb.
Hilarious.
I'm definitely dumb. I have no idea what you're talking about.
It makes me feel like the dumbest person on earth because the pronunciation of the names in there. Like, y'all, like the character names, ancient Greek character names, they're so hard to say. They're like 30-syllable names.
You know there was no actual Brosidon.
What?
We made that up. That's a made-up person.
I have to dissemble my altar now.
But we are, just from the descriptions I've read, for both of you, you're playing like half some things, right? Like there's a half mermaid. So what was it like for you all to find these characters when they're this kind of crazy? Does that make it easier almost because it's so wacky?
For me, for my character, I like really identify with my character. I like honestly, it's just like I am this. She's like a half Cyclops, half goddess.
Love it.
And she's just very strong, but also not smart in many ways, which I feel like is me, but very brave. But I feel like she is smart in a sense because she is, I don't know, can I talk about stuff? Yeah, okay.
Can you talk about the show?
Promote it. Okay. Well, she's a warrior. So she's like the best. She's like
cool?
I'm like, what am I allowed to talk about? So anyway, she's like a warrior. So she knows everything about war and fighting and killing people. So she I think
And
that
you really
make-
identify with
I
that.
really do. I 100%. But like she really knows like people like at their base level, like when they're most scared, you know, or what their next thing is gonna do, what they're gonna do in war to try and save themselves.
Yeah.
So like that's the one thing that she's smart about.
Also, my favorite thing, and I believe Pete and the artists came up with this,
Yeah.
which is that the character is a Cyclops, but she wears an eye patch with an eye painted on it, so people don't know she's a Cyclops.
Yeah, because she thinks of it as a
And
weakness.
it's my favorite thing because it's so stupid. It's
Yeah.
just like I'm pulling this off.
Yeah, like
and
in
it's
war,
not- it's
you-
insane.
You
but
don't
it's
want to let
great.
your enemy know that, like,
Sure.
if you have anything,
Yeah.
you
It
know,
just
they
makes
can
her
take
so much
advantage
more
of.
endearing because you're just like, there's this one insecurity that this character has, and it's that she wishes she had two eyes.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I'm pulling this off. Like,
Yeah.
I like that she has little pigtails too. Like,
Oh my God, yeah.
Like, this works.
Because we talked about like backstory with the character where you go like, oh, she's got these two little pigtails, which hints that at some point she was a little girl. Like that someone either taught her to do that, or she did that, or she
Yeah.
got rewarded for
Yeah.
that. Now that's the haircut that sticks. Like
Forever.
they say, like George Lucas has that pompadour because like that was his prom haircut. It's not going to change. You know, like she's so so that was a stage of her life when she was feeling on top of things, and she's got those little baby pigtails.
Yeah.
So sweet.
Duncan, did you identify with your character?
Yes. He's the best. He's, Hippocampus is, he's an outsider. And
That's not how you pronounce it.
What?
That's how you've been
I've been saying it wrong?
They
No,
have
you
to
got
go
it right,
in and
Duncan.
change
Don't-
it.
Oh, come on.
Why did you all tell me?
we should have a session before this.
Hippocampus. No, he's like a little brother mutant being. I was a little brother. I know what that's like. He's like also kind of maybe a dangerous sociopath. I don't know if I identify with that part all the way, but
Take it.
when you're
I
getting,
identified
like,
with the killer
if you
part.
have a big brother, you know what it's like from time to time to like fantasize revenge, But yeah, Hippocampus is just the best, and I feel completely connected to him, and weirdly, I just love him.
Isn't Tyrannus the youngest, Dan?
Tyrannus is the youngest.
Yeah,
actually.
Stratus is the youngest, but Hippocampus is the most. He's a genius, but he's differently abled. Like he's not built to live in the world.
Yeah.
So he's kind of like has a bowl that is filled with water. That is how he survives, and a weird like. It's not quite a wheelchair, but it's not a wheelchair.
It's like a baby walker.
yeah.
A tripod,
Yeah, and like and he's like, I did this. Like I've proven
Yes.
my value
Yeah.
by proving I can be part of this land and this world. And there's something really cool that you get to root for about that character because you're like, yeah, like he's smart, but he's like overcome a ton of stuff. So it's great.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
he's always looking through water. You know?
Yeah,
Everything he sees is from the perspective of inside a fishbowl.
Yeah, that is really true.
Yeah.
Well, I do want to quickly touch on the look of the show. Of what were the conversations about how you wanted to animate this, what you wanted it to look like?
Well, we always knew we wanted to be somewhat realistic in the character design and the animation, but we also wanted it to be an iconic character that you could see walking around at Comic-Con maybe
Right.
next year. But it was we went through so many different versions of Tyrannus. There must be like hundreds of them that,
Oh,
that
yeah.
we went through before we came up with the one that we finally landed on. But we had beards, we had staffs, we had different crowns, different hair, different costumes. It was quite a process, the development process. So
My
it's-
favorite part of the Tyrannus design is his little olive pin holding up his toga.
And he's wearing a T-shirt.
Yeah.
That's my favorite.
Amazing.
Yeah, and I will say, like, Pete is an amazing director, and the character designer, Andy, there was this kind of thing where we were all a little bit at sea trying to figure it out, and then Andy just sent us a bunch of his, like, sketches, just random sketches, and they were so beautiful that we were like, there they are. The characters are all there.
Yeah.
And so we really got to like find it because he just went and was completely like free to just be creative.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a beautiful moment to be able to be like,
Yeah.
yeah, your
Yeah.
style is exactly
Yeah.
what we want. Like,
He just did a page of these Greek guys. And like that's the one. That's our Tyrannus right there.
It was great. It was really good. And we have the best team. Like this is a difficult show because you can't have signs. Like literally, there's no machines. There's nothing. And so they have to every time we say, well, what if someone had a machine that makes fire? They have to think about it and come up with it. I don't know how to make that happen.
But that's the fun part. We get to create things because the limitations of the technology is wood, sticks, stones, marble, and sheep bladders, and we have to make something out of that. So it's kind of fun for us. I think everybody on the crew is just having a great time drawing all these characters and all these situations.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you guys for coming through.
Thank you.
For everybody watching, stay tuned to EW.com for your Comic-Con needs.